Okay, now let's take a look at styling this member detail page and displaying the user's profile inside there. So back to VS Code, and we're going to start off in our member detail component. So I'm just going to close the other tabs and take a look at this. Now, I don't really want to use optional chaining all the way through this component. So we're going to add a conditional at the top and then put all of our content inside that conditional. I'm going to stick to using the built-in control flow from modern Angular. So I'm going to say @if, and then we're going to check for the presence of our member, and then inside the curly brackets, I'm going to add a div and give this a class of row. Inside this div, I'm going to give it a class of col-4, so it takes up 1/3 of the left-hand side of the page. And once again, I'm going to utilize a card from Bootstrap. So I'm going to say div.card for the styling class. And then we'll add an image tag. And we're going to say member.photo URL. And because of the conditional, we're no longer forced to use the optional chaining here. And we can't guarantee the members actually have a photo, by the way. The users that we have right now, our dummy users, they all have a photo, but when a new user registers, then they probably, well, I know they will not have a photo, so we need to provide an alternative. Now we'll add this soon, but the alternative we're going to have inside an assets folder. So we need to say /assets/ and it's going to be user.png. So we'll have that as the alternative. If that photo URL is null, then we're going to fall back to a kind of placeholder image. And for the alternate here, we're just going to say member.knownAs. And we also need to give this image a class as well. So let's drop these down so I don't go off the edge of the screen. And we'll also give it a class. And we're going to say card-image and image-thumbnail. And below the image, we're going to add a div with a class of card-body. And inside here, we'll add a div, and we'll use a strong tag and say location, : and below the strong tag, we'll add a paragraph, and we'll say member.city, and add a comma after this, and we'll say member.country. And we're going to have a few similar divs, so I'm just going to copy this one down 3 more times below it and just update the various elements. So we're going to have a property for the age, and we don't need a second thing there, but I'm going to say member.age. We're also going to have a last active, so I'm going to say last active. And again, I'll remove the second one and say member.lastActive. And the last one will say member since. And we'll remove this one and we'll say member.created. Now, 2 divs down from where we are, so below this one, we'll add another div and we'll give it a class of card-footer. And we'll just have a couple of buttons in here. So I'm going to have a div, and we're going to use a btn-group from Bootstrap. And we're going to use display flex. So I'm going to say d-flex. And this is just going to make the buttons appear in a row. And I'm going to say button and give it a class of btn and btn-primary. And for this one, we'll use this button so they can like the user. And for the second one, we'll use it to take them to their messages. And we'll give this a different color. So we'll say btn-success. And let's go check our progress. And if we go and take a look, then we can see that we've got a card with the user's image quite large, and we've got the different details about the user's profile here as well. Obviously, there's some things to tidy up inside here, but we'll make the image a little bit smaller and do a tiny bit of styling inside here as well, as I don't really want the border around the footer there, and I'd like the image to be not quite all the way up to the edge of the card. So we'll just go back and adjust the CSS inside the member detail component. So let's just open up the member detail component CSS, and we'll target the image-thumbnail, and we'll give it margin of 25 pixels. We'll give it width of 85%, and we'll give it height of 85% as well, so it doesn't take up quite so much space. We'll give our card dash body padding of 0 on the left and right, and 25 pixels on the top and the bottom. And we'll also just adjust the card dash footer, and we'll give this some padding properties, and we'll say 10 pixels left and right and 15 pixels top and bottom. We'll take away the shading, so we'll give it a background color of hash FFF, which means effectively white, and we'll give it a border dash top, and we'll set that to none to override the border setting that Bootstrap provides. And if we go take a look, then that's a bit more like it. And we've taken away the shading here, we've brought the image in from the edges, and okay. And what we'll take a look at next is what we're going to do on this right hand side here.